Alrighty, good morning, everyone. Good morning. It is nice to see so many beautiful faces today, is it not? You are probably wondering who this stranger is standing up here. As Pastor Mike mentioned, I've been the pastoral intern for the past 3 weeks and has been absolutely an honor and pleasure to learn from the legends themselves. These two individuals have such an incredible heart to their community, have created an incredible marriage and family, so they're who I want to be when I grow up, definitely someday. As a stranger in the community, I thought it would be nice that I introduce myself a little to you before we get started. A little bit lopsided there, but my name is Alicia Coleman, and I'm from the great and beautiful state of Utah. I'm a nursing student. I will be done in May, and I'm hoping to work as a NICU nurse when I finish. NICU is newborn intensive care. I'm also a student researcher. In the middle picture is my research partner, Sammy. We've worked together for 5 years on an engineering project, and it's been my joy and my greatest pain for the past 5 years. All the way to the right is my amazing family. I have a very Italian mama and a very Scandinavian papa, so we got quite the family dynamic, but also an incredible amount of love that I never deserved in my life from these two incredible individuals. Also, I'm involved with my local youth ministry and campus ministry. The bottom picture is from our recent camp journey, which many of you were a part of. And the top 2 pictures is from campus ministry, and it's called CARP, which stands for the Collegiate Association for the Research of Principles. And actually what I want to share with you today is a little piece of my journey in CARP. CARP is a club on campus and an organization that we start in order to develop our relationship with God, to research principles worth living for, craft the moral compass we want to live in our life. But we also focus a lot on our own personal growth and development, thinking about what character attributes do I want to bring to my family, what heart do I want to develop towards serving the world. And what I want to talk to you today about is something that I've been working on since last fall, and it's the idea of gratitude, specifically gratitude as a lifestyle. And full disclaimer, I am still working on this. I have a long way to go before I'm a grateful person, but I wanted to share a little bit of the nuggets that I've learned along the way thus far and share that journey together with you. So before last fall, gratitude was not a big part of my life. I heard it in Sunday service, I thought about it occasionally, but it wasn't really something I wanted to think about. In fact, I blamed myself a lot whenever I would think, oh, I should be more grateful, and then I would quickly dismiss those thoughts. But last fall, I was working as a nursing student at my local hospital in a step-down intensive care unit, working with a patient who 48 hours before had undergone a massive embolytic stroke affecting her right side. She was this sweet 78-year-old woman. Unfortunately, we missed the grace window in order to give her the medications necessary to minimize the effects, and she was left completely paralyzed on her right side of her body. And the center in her brain on her left side that controls and understands comprehensible speech and intelligible speech was severely damaged. So from a medical point of view, we were pretty sure that she was not really there anymore. It was not my first time working with stroke patients, but this patient really stood out to me because of her husband, actually. Her husband was this adorable, adorable 80-year-old man who not only insisted that he do all of her cares, which would normally be up to the healthcare team, things like bathing, changing, dressing, all of these difficult and intense cares, but he did it with so much love. He went home and he got her favorite smelling soap, so she would have that, and he would get up early and comb her hair just the way as she's always loved it. He would hang up pictures of their grandchildren in their room and play her favorite music. And even more than that, what really touched me is that he would sit by her bed for hours, and he would just talk to her and tell her, as though nothing was wrong, talk to her how he always has been, stories from the past, and he would include the healthcare providers and say, oh, this is how we met. And it was so beautiful to see this man and his sincerity and his love for his wife. And on our morning rounds, the nurse that I was following that day really stopped and praised him and said, you are taking such good care of your wife. She is so lucky to have you." And he stopped her and he said, "No, no, I am the lucky one, for I never deserved this person in my life. She has transformed me into the man that I am today, and she gave me so much unconditional love, even though I was not able to give her an ounce of that love back. So I am the lucky one to have her, and I know that she is still that girl inside." So in the days and the weeks to follow after that, I couldn't stop thinking about this beautiful couple. I began thinking of why were they like that? How is it possible that this man could love his wife so much even though she really wasn't there anymore? And I began to think about what are the most beautiful couples in the world. And it's those that are so deeply grateful for each other, right? It's those that think, wow, I never deserved a person like this in my life. And I saw what the power of gratitude could do in a marriage. And I thought, this is something I need to work on. I want to treat my husband like this in the future. And I want to bring this into my marriage, but I am a long way from that. So this was my big turning point with the concept of gratitude. And I began to think, I was like, oh, maybe I've just missed gratitude. I mean, we talk about it a lot, right? Maybe society, I began to look at societal definitions of what gratitude should be. And upon further reflection, I realized the concept of gratitude is almost completely abused in our society. It's something that we take for granted or disregard, we think about for a moment, and then we call ourselves a grateful person, right? And sometimes we even badger and we blame our minds with it. But what if gratitude is so much more than that? What if gratitude on a deeper level is actually an art, a lifestyle? Something that we take time to learn and shape and mold and develop. And what if it is not joy that makes us grateful, but it is gratitude that makes us joyful? Have you ever noticed that we fill our lives and our relationships with so many expectations of how we want to receive love? Well, I didn't, not until last fall, at least. I started reading this book around the same time that I met this patient and her husband, and it's called Real Love in Marriage by Dr. Greg Bear. And I want to share with you a passage from that book today. The author, to give you a little bit of backstory, the author, Greg Bear, tells the story of Sylvia and Roberto. And they're your typical American couple. They fell in love, they were young. 10 years later, they reached a complacent point in their marriage, and they were constantly arguing and bickering. Roberto would leave his stinky socks on the floor, and Sylvia would be like, "What are you doing? Don't do that." And he goes in depth into this really intense but a little bit funny story. And he leads us to a point in the story where he's sitting in an office together with Sylvia, and Sylvia's really sharing her heart, so many things that are bothering her about Roberto. And Greg Bear stops her, and he says, "What do you want from Roberto?" And Sylvia reflects, and she thinks, "I want to be loved. I want to be loved by him." And Greg Bear smiles, and he says, "Of course you do. But you have built so many expectations and so many conditions on how you want to receive that love that it's creating a wall, it's creating a barrier for you to be able to receive the love that he can give you." And then he challenges her, and he says, what if you take off those glasses of expectations, those conditions for a moment, and you put on a pair of gratitude glasses? And so we read, "When you choose to be grateful, you immediately feel more loved. You also lose your expectations that certain individuals, like your spouse, will give you what you want. After our conversation, Sylvia made a conscious choice to see and remember the real love she was getting, a conscious choice to be grateful. And when she did that, she felt happier and didn't need to demand that Roberto give her what she wanted all the time. She slowly lost her expectations of him, and then she also began to see even more evidence of the love he was giving her. With gratitude and without expectation, she noticed that there were many occasions when he did demonstrate a concern for her happiness. She recognized that he really was doing his best to love her, even though his love was often imperfect. She had not been able to see all that when she was ungrateful and focusing on what she wasn't getting. So the point of this passage is that we really fill our relationships with so many expectations of how we want to receive love from the other person. And we create these walls and these barriers against those closest to us. And we expect to receive love in a certain way or for them to act in a specific way. And when they are unable to meet those expectations, like Roberto picking up his stinky socks, which he should do, by the way, but when he's unable to meet those expectations, we feel a lack of love, right? And we grow angry and resentful. But Greg Bear challenges us, and he says that the minute that we replace those glasses of expectation and we put on those glasses of gratitude is the minute we're able to realize the love that this other person is able to give us. And it's the minute we're able to radically change our love and our heart towards the other person. And imagine wearing those glasses not just for a moment, but keeping them on. Imagine wearing them as a lifestyle and what that could do to their marriage. So after reading this passage, I started thinking a lot about my own relationships in my life, specifically that with my father. I realized that in my own corner, I had built so many expectations of how I wanted to receive love from him. Even more so, I wanted him to be and to act a certain way. My father is an amazing man. He has limitations, yes, but when I finally broke down those walls of expectations and I put on my gratitude glasses, I saw a man who never hesitates to serve others before himself. I saw a man who would always try to make my day, always try to make me laugh by showing me the comics that he thought were funny. And I saw a man who would love me so unconditionally despite my many attempts to push him away. And I certainly have a long way to go in keeping on those gratitude glasses. I can wear them for a moment, but they're really hard for me to keep on. But even for that one moment, when I'm able to wear them, my relationship and my love for my father has completely changed because of this. So I think we can kind of think as gratitude glasses as a prescription. Imagine you go to the doctor, and he's like, yo, you need glasses, right? And he carefully creates this prescription, right? You get it in the mail, and you start to put them on. And you're like, oh my gosh, wow, I can see so much better. But after a few minutes, you're like, wow, these are kind of giving me a headache. They're really, really strong, right? And then you start thinking, actually, it was a lot more comfortable wearing my old pair of glasses. And that's exactly what happens in this case. We're so comfortable wearing our expectation glasses, not because we want to, it's just because what we're used to, that we don't try to keep on these gratitude glasses. So in this sense, gratitude is very easy to say, it's very easy to do in a moment, but how do we keep on those gratitude glasses? And so for this, we can turn to scripture for guidance. So this quote is by Reverend Sang Myung Moon, affectionately called True Father. He says that we have nothing that is inherently ours. God gave us life unconditionally without requiring that any contract signed or interest paid or loan paid back with a certain number of years. The only way we can repay him or show our gratitude is by giving to others. Let's think about that for a moment. The only way we can repay him or show our gratitude is by giving to others. So this is essentially saying that the ultimate expression of gratitude is actually living for the sake of others, right? It is a life of service. That is how we manifest and express our gratitude to others. So let's think about this. If I take off those expectation glasses and I put on my gratitude glasses, I will not only feel more love because I'm able to receive the love that this other person can give me, but it will change me because I will want to express my gratitude to this other person. And hence this idea that gratitude is not created by joy, but joy is created by gratitude becomes fulfilled. Do you see how this can become a natural lifestyle, a natural life cycle? This idea of giving, feeling love, feeling grateful, feeling more love, and then continuous life cycle like that. But another question comes up, and I was really challenging God. I was like, okay, this makes sense, but what happens when I'm struggling? What happens when all I see in this other person is this problem, and I can't see the person anymore? Specifically thinking a lot about my own relationship with my father. And what happens when gratitude seems like such a distant concept that I can't even fathom to serve the other person? Well, there's these glasses that Adonia was talking about, and it's all connected. It's like one pair of glasses, gratitude, and also our spiritual armor, right? This idea of viewing things from God's point of view. Because when I become so focused on the problem that I can't even see my love for my father anymore, or the person who my father is, then I can't feel gratitude, and I can't go beyond that. But if I'm able to look at this person from God's point of view, and able to see that this is a precious child of God who has been through so much in his life, and I'm able to just want to love him on behalf of God, to be able to serve him on behalf of God, then this idea of gratitude will naturally manifest, because I will want to serve him, and it'll be an expression of gratitude. And these lenses of gratitude will go back on, and then I'll be able to experience love from him again. So ultimately, if we want to truly keep on our gratitude glasses, we have to do two things. We have to be able to want to live for the sake of others through our expression of gratitude. But we also have to be able to keep on our God's point of view glasses throughout this. Gratitude, even in a deeper sense, allows for, even if a situation is not what I want to happen, maybe not even what God wanted to happen, if I choose to be grateful even in the most miserable of situations, if I choose to look from his point of view at the greater picture, for I can only see the trees but not the forest, then it allows the condition for victory. It allows the condition for God to be able to work to make things as right as they can be. And so you see, gratitude can have such a profound effect on our relationships, because it affects us not only how we receive love, but who we are in relationships, especially through the most miserable situations and times. And so in my own journey, looking back now to last fall, gratitude has changed me. This 78-year-old stroke patient and her husband, who I met last fall, ended up having a profound effect on my own relationships, especially that with my father. Of course, I'm still working on the many, many walls I have built up, but I'm a different person because I can truly experience the fullness of my father's love at times. And I'm becoming a more loving and grateful and serving person because of this. And because I can experience the love that he can give me in the way that he can give it to me. And I have to wonder, though, about myself. What if I can keep on those gratitude glasses? What if I can make it my lifestyle? And in doing so, what if I can become a more loving and more serving person and experience the fullness of love and joy in my relationships as God originally intended? What if this is something that I can shape and develop? And so I challenge each of you, and I ask the same question to each of you. Imagine taking off those expectation or those life sucks glasses, right? And putting on those life is awesome, gratitude, God's point of view glasses. Imagine the radical change that you can experience in each of your own relationships, that when you put them on, not just for a moment, but for a lifetime. And imagine how much more fulfilling life can be. So I leave you with that, and I challenge you with that this week. Please join me in prayer. My dearest Heavenly Parents, good morning. It is so nice to be gathered here all together as a community, to really feel your heart, to refuel our tanks, and to connect to who we are in front of you, God. I know so many of us have experienced many different journeys throughout the week. And even more so, God, we are longing to feel true love in our relationships, true love in our relationship with you, God. But we challenge ourselves, God, and we are determined, God, to try to put on those gratitude glasses and keep them on for a moment, but also challenge ourselves to keep wearing them, to experience the love in our relationships that you originally intended, and to experience the love in our relationship with you, God, that you so longingly wish, if we're able to keep on those gratitude glasses. So I really pray, God, that as we move forward from this time, as we move forward from this week, we can keep in mind what your heart is throughout this, that your heart is knocking, crying, longing at our door, And we want to express our love for you through our gratitude and to our service to others. So I really offer this with a full and humble heart, and I pray this in all of our names here and in your Son's name. Amen and adieu.